Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast here on the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you from the Retro Wrestling Archive here in beautiful Gadsden, Alabama. And please join me in welcoming back my co-host. First of all, welcome back the man of 1,000 voices himself, Josh Briley of P3 Radio. Josh, how we doing this morning, man?
Man, I am excellent today, man. How about you? You the rambling man, the traveler. How are you feeling?
I'm a little tired, but I had a good time, man. I got up and went to work yesterday and rolled right out of work, hopped in the car and drove to Corinth, Mississippi, and went to the big Crossroads Clash. And we're going to talk about that a little bit here. But let's welcome in the third member of the team here, our other special guest co-host, standing in for Richard, who's still out on assignment, if you will. Of course, who else would it be but the owner, the founder, and president of STSpod.club. Spoiler alert, Brian Trammell's back. What's up, Brian?
Thank you. Live from Jonesboro, Arkansas. How's it going, y'all? Whoop, there it is. I got to put that in every time. Brother Gene, brother Josh, everything's going good. I like spending my kayfabe. We're doing this on Sunday. My Sunday mornings with my best friend Gene and my favorite host of P3 Radio, Josh. I'm fired up and ready to go, guys.
Well, we're glad to have you, man.
Where you should be.
Nope.
Are we assuming that's where Richard is?
yeah. He's at Mass right now, or is that Saturday?
He's praying. Sure. He's praying this comedy show is going to draw.
he's
going to get some goodwill in.
He's got fist copperheads right now, and he's ready to make the sacrifice.
Help me, Jesus! Help me, brother Love, please, brother Ernest Angel, do something for me.
Hey man, you can't. I don't know how to put this. Well, you get religion when you're about 12 or 13 years old, and someone starts speaking tongues during a softball game. So, I went to the Baptist Church, Church of Christ, and the Methodist Church, and everyone wonders why my religion's so screwed up. So there you go.
When I was 6, against my parents' advice, I agreed to go to church with my Pentecostal friend.
Oh, yeah.
And I have not recovered since. Holy.
Can you tell me about them girls that were there in the blue jean dresses? That might be, I've actually looked that up, and it's not even a fetish. So I might start my own fetish with the blue jean.
Yeah, dude. If you see a market, corner it.
No, man.
Yeah, you're cheating yourself if you don't.
There's something about them skirts, man.
Join the STSpod.club Pentecostal fetish tier to the Patreon coming soon.
We do a Reddit thread too on it.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, Josh mentioned yesterday I went to Corinth, Mississippi. Shout out to my good buddy Neil Taylor and EPW Wrestling. Man, they put on their biggest show they've ever done there at Crossroads Arena.
Awesome.
I meant to have a picture to pull up here of that crowd, man. They packed a big crowd in there. They had everybody they advertised showed up. Enzo Amore, Heath Slater, the JPA, JBL, and Ron Simmons. Farouk was there. Doug Gilbert was there. Ricky Morton was there. Everybody had a great time. I got to hang out downtown at the meet and greet with Doug and Ricky, and then sat at the gimmick table with them there, and me and Doug just marveled at Ricky Morton in action. We talked about a little before we started recording. Ricky is quite the sell. Not only does he sell in the ring, but he sells at the gimmick table too. And it was fun as we were sitting up there doing the meet and greet. And I told Doug, I said, well, you got it made tonight, man. You just going to be Robert Gibson over in the corner while Ricky sells. And Ricky goes, bullshit. He said, I'm going to be Robert Gibson. Doug gets to play Ricky tonight. And Doug's like, great. And Ricky goes, why do you think Robert ain't here? He said, I'm tired of selling for him. So we had, like I say, we had a lot of fun. Really met some cool people. A lot of people came through and told us that they are looking forward to reading the Eddie Gilbert book we got coming out soon. And tons of people told me they listened to not only the podcast with Doug and Tommy, but this podcast, and talked about how much fun they have listening to the USWA podcast. So that's really cool, man. Like, you do these things and you see numbers, but to talk to people and hear what they like about it, and you know how it's a fun part of their week, and they like watching the show to see what their reaction is compared to what our reaction ends up being. Makes all this seem really worthwhile. So really
Dean,
cool.
you should see a little increase every time I go to a con, man. I get a big pop in numbers. So
yeah,
it's fun to give your card out. You talk about Ricky Morton. I worked downtown Bruno's gimmick table at a con, and man, I was the one that was working everybody. Downtown Bruno was just chilled. He said, "Go ahead, work it." And he just sat there. I was like, "Yeah, I can get you 3 photos for $50. Come on, I autograph it in the corner. Come on." And then I got to give my card out. And my wife and my old buddy Steve Crawford were sitting at supposed to have been my gimmicks table, but I went to downtown Bruno, and they're talking about how I was marking out for Bruno. So that was nice of them to keep my table going and talk bad about me. So there you go.
Yeah, you was helping out downtown Bruno. I can just imagine. Hey, this is Dr. Harvey Whippleman right here.
That's right. We had pictures of him with PG-13. So Jamie was yelling across the con floor, "He's got pictures of me over there."
Oh, good thing it wasn't a picture of Wolfie. He'd pull a knife on him. You know, how that goes. Poor Bruno would have been in rough shape. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and we'll talk a little bit more about some more things we got coming up. But we'll save that to the end, because right now it is time to head back to October 30th, 1993 for another fun-filled episode of USWA Championship Wrestling. Dave Brown lets us know that Corey Macklin has taken the day off.
Yay!
So Dave will be flying. How dare you, sir? Brian gets excited when Richard's not here and when Corey's not here. And somehow, every time Corey takes a day off, it coincides with when Richard has taken a day off.
So weird.
I feel like Richard's looking ahead, and if his boy Corey Macklin, his old boss Corey Macklin's not here, he just doesn't want to be a part of this. So no Corey today. That kind of bums me out, but I kind of figured Tremble might be excited about that. But anyway, that's ridiculous to celebrate the Corey Macklin ain't in here. There will be a USWA Heavyweight title match today with Jeff Jarrett defending against Doink the Clown. Plus, here in just a moment, we're going to meet the brand new USWA Tag Team Champions that came out on top in that big tournament last week there in Memphis. In fact, let's hear from the new champs right about now, okay?
Well, I'm still a little bit stunned by the pairing, but congratulations are in order.
Son, Dave Brown, wasn't it just 1 week ago that I came out here in this very spot and told each and every person sitting at home, I told you, I told all these people that we would win these Tag Team Championship belts right here. And what is around my waist, Dave? It looks like we are the newly crowned Tag Team Champions. And you know what? All he had to do, all Jeff Jarrett had to do was listen to me. I knew if he listened to me, this right here is what would happen. And you know what, Dave? I don't see a team around here, and I don't see a team anywhere that can even give myself and Jeff Jarrett any competition at all. You know what I'm saying? Because with all my newfound fans out there, all my fans now, they're my fans. You hear them, Dave? They love me. Everybody loves me. But like I said before, I don't see a team around here that can give us any competition whatsoever, because I'm the sexiest man alive, and this is the most fabulous man I've ever seen.
Well, Brian has an appreciation for the fans now, Jeff.
He sure does, Dave. I like a man with confidence. You know, Dave, going into the tournament, I was worried for a couple of reasons. Number one, always the tag team tournament, you never know what to expect because there's 4 guys in the ring, but especially on this tournament, I had to worry about something else, and that was my partner. But I don't have to worry anymore because you're looking at the new tag champs. So anytime, anywhere, any team, it doesn't matter if you're from the WWF or from the USWA or from our own backyard. Bring them on. Yeah.
All right, Richard Lee and the Moondogs out here. Brian and Jeff.
Let me tell you guys something. You can sit out here and run your mouth all you want to. Brian Christopher, I used to have a lot of respect for you, brother. I used to think that you were a top wrestler, but you're nothing but a turncoat. And you wait and see, Jeff Jarrett. He'll end up stabbing you in the back the same way he has everybody else. Maybe, Brian Christopher, you think that you've never lost before. Well, I'm fixing to teach you a new word, brother, and it's loser. And Jeff, Brad, you guys might have forgot what it's like to have your butt kicked by a moondog, and I'm going to show you what it's like right now, baby.
Hey, Richard Lee, losing it in our vocabulary, boy, and you're going to find that out the hard.
Big boy. Who would blow a whistle all the time, running around part of their gimmick? Who would do that, Gene?
You'd have to be a real piece of shit to do something like that. But
Man.
Richard Lee, he's out here. Richard Lee's going to show him what a loser is. I don't know if that went exactly the way he wanted that to. You take that a number of ways, but what do you guys think about the tag team of Brian Christopher and Jeff Jarrett, and they're the new tag team champions here?
I absolutely love it, man. Like I said a week or two ago, whenever it was, like I've been at this point in time, I was dying to have Brian Christopher on our side, on the good side. And he is such a master at this. All he had to do was just tweak it just a little bit. He's the same guy. He's still doing everything like he was doing before, only he's just complimentary to the fans and the right wrestlers, the King and Jeff Jarrett. You know what I mean? Like, and that's insane because that's total heel shit. But somehow he has made it to where, I mean, obviously, I'm saying this because he was getting the chance before he turned. People wanted to like him, and now he's making them do it and just changing it just a tad.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm with Josh. I'm glad that they actually, Dave, the criticism I had last week is Dave wasn't really acknowledging their history, just, hey, this tag team. But they did this time. It was very well done. I'll go back to what they did last week to get over Brian Christopher as a babyface, pinning 3 people. Just awesome. I really like what they're doing here. And he said he was sexy and the guy was fabulous. I like that little line. So
most fabulous man he's ever seen.
There you go.
Yeah. So to Josh's point there, I like what they're doing. I always hate when somebody turns and they become a different person. They become goody to the bone. Mm-hmm. But Brian he's still the same Brian Christopher. He's still cocky. He's still a cheater. He's doing all the same stuff, but he's doing it against the people the fans want to see it done too. And he's getting along with the people they want him to get along with. We're going to see more of that as we move along here. And in the tournament, we're not going to see any clips. I don't think. I don't remember.
No, we don't.
But they described that in the tournament, and when I read in the Observer about it, that Brian, like they get down to Jeff and Brian against Lawler and his Red Knight, and Brian's cheating, and the referee would ask Jeff, did he cheat? And Jeff would go, no, he didn't cheat. And the fans ate it up. And in the end, they end up using a chain to pin Jerry Lawler to win the tournament, and the crowd ate it up. So it's a fun dynamic, and I'm looking forward to seeing where all this goes.
I have to ask, man, because psychology is so important. Back then, it was almost the most important thing. Like, do you think this kind of poisons the fans' mindset in a way? Because it was a certain way, it seemed, up until this point. It's like, okay, the bad guys are going to cheat and do this certain formula, foreign objects, whatever, and the fans will get crazy just at the thought of somebody cheating. But now it's like it's okay to cheat because it's who I want to cheat. Do you think that's kind of like mentally screwing up the fan at this point?
I think we're heading down a road here that eventually gets us down the Attitude Era Stone Cold Steve Austin road, and kind of just where the mindset of society was into the late 90s, where the things that once made somebody completely disgusting and hated are now causing them to be loved, you know, and this is kind of the beginnings of that, where it's not full on. Like here, they can justify it in their mind, like, well, these are guys who normally do these sorts of things, and now it's coming back to bite them. So, when they're doing it against Koko as a heel, they're doing it against Doink or whoever. But now when they're doing it against Lawler, who's a fellow babyface, and the fans are eating it up, and that's when you're going, all right, so now we're screwing with everybody's mindset here, because why would it be okay for them to cheat against Lawler? What's Lawler done? We don't know who the Red Knight is, but why are they cheating against Lawler? And the crowd was all in for it. So
if I'm sorry to cut you off, man, but if I'm a wrestler right now, like I'm going to be afraid that oh shit, if I'm a heel, what if if I'm a reliant on that type of deal, to get over in my matches and shit, like, dude, what if I pull out a chain and they're not as incensed because they're desensitized? You know what I mean? Like it's another chain. I'm not as crazy in a craze about it like I was last year, because everybody, anybody can do it now.
And I've been doing a lot of studying in the last few years of older stuff, and I mean I've read and heard it talked about how, like, back in the day, every once in a while you'd have these purely scientific babyface matches, but you would play it up where things would get a little heated, and at some point one of the beloved babyfaces might pull the hair, or they might choke or do something unsavory, and the crowd would turn against them, and they'd have to kind of win them back, because the crowd back then, it was, you do the right thing and we're going to support that. But if you don't, even if we love you, if you break the rules, we're not going to support that. That's not cool. But it's a change in mindset, I think, just in society in general. And we see where we end up eventually.
Right.
Eventually. But yeah, it is fun to kind of see them. This is kind of a new thing here, to have somebody just flagrantly be a heel as a baby face and expect the fans to go with it, but they do. So.
Yep, they do.
So we roll right into from that promo, because the reason the Moondogs are on their way out, it wasn't just for Richard Lee to come out there and tell Brian and Jeff they're fixing to show them what a loser is. We're rolling into a match here. The Moondogs, Spike and Splat, taking on TD Steele and Dan Shannon, who I don't recognize that name from anything recent. So this is a new enhancement talent, if you will, but it's a typical Moondog squash here. But it is fun that Brian and Jeff hang around to do commentary for this, because again, Corey's off. So throughout this show, you're going to have different people popping in on commentary with Dave. Some, like Jeff and Brian, are kind of fun. Others, like Tony Adams, not so much, but we'll get there.
She said she was sick last week. Did you hear her say that?
Yeah, I was like, was that related to the whole stomach pumping thing we heard about in the Observer? But so afterwards, they're beating down TD Steele and Dan Shannon, and as Richard Lee jumps up in the ring and challenges Jarrett and Christopher to come on in here, which they do. But the Moondogs powder out and then just watch Jeff and Brian punch Richard Lee. This is the most un-Moondog thing I have ever seen in my life. And I don't think there's any way in hell this would have been done if Spot was around. There's no way Spot would have let the Moondogs look like this. And to me, I'm thinking, well, damn, we finally turned the Moondogs heel, but now this is tamer than the babyface Moondogs not swinging chairs, like powdering out from Brian and Jeff and then letting Richard Lee get beat up right in front of them. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, when I'm watching this, I couldn't think anything but this was like extreme direction. Like, look, you're not going to hit him at all. You're just going to leave. I can picture, the Moondogs, huh? No, just leave like you're scared. Like, I feel like this was an extreme influence. This was somebody's vision, and they were like, do it this way. Don't deviate. It's gonna, it looked good to them, but like to you and me, it's just like, holy shit, these are not vicious dogs. These are poodles. These ain't Moondogs.
And Brian, you've worked around Larry Latham. Do you think there's any way in hell he would have went for that? No matter who.
No,
it'd have been Jerry Jarrett himself.
He did work a lot with him, but he pretty much told everyone what he wanted to do. You do it or hit the road. That's in no disrespect, he was really I mean, when he decided he wanted to do an angle with me, and I cowered out and said, "No way in hell am I getting beat up by you and your belts." He shook my hand and said, "Hey, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it." Then we lost the loser league town match the next week.
So you'll never do it.
Yeah. So see you later. Bye.
But they spent 30 years building up the Moondogs' reputation, and you just can't justify the Moondogs chicken shit heel.
Yeah, you can't. Running away.
No matter how big or bad, even the Harris brothers or anybody like that stands up to them size wise, especially when you got the 400-pound, 6'6" Splat as one of the Moondogs. But,
he's huge. Yeah.
We'll see how this goes. So next up, we hear from PG-13, and if you guys don't mind, let's hear what PG-13 have to say this week.
JC is going to be involved in a match in which he'll be handcuffed to the bottom rope, and Wolfie D is involved in a hubcap on a pole match.
What, Dave Brown? There's so many things happening in the USWA, and of course, yours truly, JC Ice, Wolfie D, and Midget D are right in the middle of it all, my friend. You see, Dave Brown, we got new tag champs around here. We got Punk Brian Christopher, that little turncoat crybaby, man. He done right. He used to say, "PG's, please, man. I wanna be great. I wanna be cool. Let me ride with y'all, please." So we get together and we say, well, he begged and he cried enough. We let him ride in the trunk of our car to the towns. We'd bring him around. He didn't have no money for gas or nothing like that. He'd pick up a few cans and hand them to me as if he could. And then, of course, we got our main man, Midget D, the man of the hour. He's got to wrestle this little dwarf. Not a midget, a dwarf, Dave. This is a midget. A midget means a little man. A dwarf is a fella that's on a cartoon, my friend. You are a cartoon character, pal. Tell me what you think about this, man.
Tell him what I think. Coming up right here in just like a few seconds, the turncoat, Brian Christopher taking on Wolfie D. He's going to get his butt kicked all over this ring. And I want to make sure, I don't understand why these stupid rednecks out here are supporting Brian Christopher. Because every time he gets in the ring, what's this? He goes down here, he's got a chain, he's got the kitchen sink, he's got something. But not today, Dave Brown. Brian Christopher is history. PG-13's taking him out right here, Jack.
Well, we'll see right here. You're exactly right. We've got
Hang out with you, Dave Brown.
I think I could probably handle it.
So that's a lot of fun. I'm glad we're finally getting to hear from PG-13. And look at these guys here. Look at it. We got Midget D. He's got a pacifier in his mouth.
They got huge babyface pop, too. They always do. But, man, this was a good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that promo. It sounded, listening to Jamie, it sounded just like a guy who was on our Patreon recently. Like, you would think we'd watched ahead and saw this before all that transpired, but we didn't. So, what, guys, I thought it would be fun. This is one of Brian's first one-on-one matches as a babyface here, and we really hadn't seen Wolfie D in very many one-on-one matches. Let's watch Wolfie D versus Brian Christopher right here on the show.
Brian Christopher
in there.
This is Josh always makes spoiler alert. Josh always makes reference to matches being, that you'd see at a spot show or a house show. All the matches today on TV felt like that. Felt like they were trying to get a bunch of time out in wrestling, and they felt like something I would have seen, in Blythe, Arkansas, or Jonesboro, Arkansas, when I was going to the shows. It all felt like they were trying to extend the matches, and they do all the stuff like this walking stuff. Brian did that years later when he worked against Dustin Starr. I mean, he always did this spot. So.
Yeah, as from a match perspective, this is actually one of the better shows.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I think the best one we've had so far,
Yeah, I was pretty excited about it. And this, too, is also another non-Memphis show. So,
we don't get any Coliseum or anything.
When we talk about what goes on at the Coliseum, like what goes on TV and the card of the Coliseum are not really even related in many ways as far as the match goes. But
these two guys were just so good. I have told some of the young guys on Memphis Wrestling that if they want to learn how to work, watch Brian Christopher, because he can do so much and do very little. and being just so over. He was just, and I've said this on this show when I was doing that. Watch this, DD. No.
What am I doing?
He was his. Here we go. This is a pretty one, y'all. Look at how he sewed that sideways. I like that.
He should show his tag team partner that.
Yeah.
He can give him some DDT training.
Jeff's looking at the monitor and going, "That's fabulous."
Now, Brian, you making me look like shit out there.
Now, Brian, don't be doing Jeff's move out there, especially not better than him.
Well, Jerry, I thought that was
slip and fall.
I thought that was the snake's move. Okay, I get it now, Jerry. Yeah, okay.
Look at that mullet on Wolfie D.
Yeah.
The shaved sides, man. That was he was the coolest kid at school in 1993.
Yeah, you don't even have to tell anybody this is 1993. You just show them like a screenshot of this, and they're like, "Well, this is obviously the early 90s." I don't know what year, but it's early 90s for sure.
That hairstyle has made a comeback within the
I got it.
Community.
I tried to do it, but it just the deal with this is also that makes it a spot show match. If y'all notice, there's so much shine. Like it takes forever before Wolfie starts to heat, and that's the way they would do at the little spot shows. You always left with the babyface winning most of the time, and you always had the babyface getting so much shine.
I always wanted those matches like consistently on Memphis TV, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter. But I always enjoyed it more as a fan getting these type.
Oh, me too.
As a kid.
Like I said, I think Gene, I really think this pure wrestling. This is probably the best show we've seen. And I watch all the shows, unlike somebody else. I still watch the shows and listen to you guys. And so I'm feeling like this might be the best. If you want to look at the wrestling wise, it's the best wrestling.
So you hear all of Richard's comments.
Yeah, I agree. So I think we may have even had an episode where we got about the best episode. And I think, speaking of Richard, I think he would have liked this one because even the promos seemed timed a little better. There wasn't as much talking. There wasn't same people coming out multiple times like, has been the case in recent weeks. So
you think that snowstorm kept a bunch of people? Because you mentioned a snowstorm. It might have been just these guys that got to show up. So they decided to go ahead and just have good matches.
I think it was a different snowstorm.
Oh, what was I thinking?
I mean, you go back to that big snowstorm in '85 where Eddie Gilbert works David Haskins, and like David Haskins' like fourth match in his life, and a 2 out of 3 fall match because nobody else was there, and it was great.
Is that the heat? It starts right here, don't it? I thought they did some kind of interference, but I guess they did.
But like you said about how good Brian is, and when you think about it, Brian hasn't been wrestling that long at this point, but he was equally good as a babyface and a heel, and he just felt like a 15-year veteran here, even though he's just a few years in. I mean, what did he start? 89 as like the Twilight Zone and all that shit.
Just the natural, with especially all the stuff that he does around the working. It's not only the moves you do; it's what you do around it. All that stuff feels like he's, I don't know. I guess he just picked it up from his dad.
Think about it. He had the best seat in the house. He he's already of that mindset. I mean, just gene-wise, it has to rub off a little bit. And from a young age, he just sat and watched like a little Shaolin monk, but a wrestler type. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kevin talked about that on my podcast one time, Kevin Lawler, in the sense that when they were small kids, it's like they really didn't like the wrestler. All the wrestlers were just their daddy's friends. They just really didn't get it. And they growing up on, none of those guys, felt like they were big, huge superstars around them or anything. I wonder if, we all say good things about Brian, but I've heard some bad things about him and a couple of things. But I wonder if the guys behind, that worked with him all the time would have good things to say about him.
Well, I was watching one of the Headbangers shoot interviews from like mid 2000s or something, maybe 09 or something like that, and he was saying how Memphis Brian was a different Brian than like WWE Brian. It was almost like his attitude changed when he went up there. But if you was in USWA with him, you might have a different opinion of him.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got so many Brian stories. We need to do a whole episode on just Brian stories.
We're going to one of these days, but yeah, we're going. That may have to be a Patreon show or something. But
definitely.
I always hated that. I mean, it was a good character, but I always hated that after the WWF, Brian continued to keep the Grandmaster Sexay gimmick and look, because I really wish he'd have went back to being the same guy he was before. Yeah. I like Too Sexy version so much better. Look at this. Well, that went awry.
Why is that funny, man?
He's like
clubbed the shit out of him.
He's like a little pit bull, dude. He just on him.
Brian said, I whoop Miss Texas' ass every week. I will whoop your ass too. Sexy boy. He can barely get in the ring.
Oh no.
Midget, well, American Eagle got him some midget D, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got a handful up front and a mouthful of ass on the back.
That sounds like a fun Saturday night at the Travel
I hated
House.
that.
Woo.
That is that some more 1980s WWF bullshit midget stuff. They're better than this.
I always loved the midgets when we would go live because they were going to be there. They're going to have so much fun. Little Tokyo's flip flop went up under my mom's seat one time, and he accused her. He accused her of stealing it. He came right up in her face. You stole my blah blah.
That's great.
It was Frankie. Was it Frankie? I want to say Little Frankie Lane or something. I don't know what it was, but they worked each other all. I don't know if it was Frankie Lane. That's a real wrestler's name, right? Not a midget.
He had a little
cowboy. It was a cowboy against Tokyo all over the place. So Lane.
Cowboy Lane.
Yeah.
Little tiny cowboy. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to pitch it to the break now. I included in the little bumper so we could go right into break from the match, but we talked over the thing. So let's go right now. Let's take our commercial break. If BT needs to step away, then here's your chance, and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here, curator of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, inviting you guys to listen to many of the programs here as part of the WrestleCopia brand, including, but not limited to, the Wrestling Memory Grenade, currently covering the 1988 and the WWF project. You can also listen to the Regional Wrestling Podcast, where we talk the territories. You can also listen to the Wrestling Stoop with the legend himself, Bob Roop. But that's not all. You can also check out the Pro Wrestling Academy with the professor of Puroresu, Mr. Dan Ginnity. Dan and I go back in time and cover the history of Japanese professional wrestling in the English language. And you can listen to all of those shows and more, all part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, located over at WrestleCopia.com. That's WrestleCopia.com, and anywhere your podcast streaming needs are met. So if you're looking to support that next up-and-coming podcast brand, please consider making it WrestleCopia.
Jackson, Tennessee, get ready for a night of non-stop laughs at Cody's Sports Bar and Grill. On May 10th at 7 p.m., we're bringing some of the best comedians in the area to the stage. Tickets are $10 at the door, but why pay more? Grab yours in advance for just $7 at codyscomedy.eventbrite.com. Great food, cold drinks, top-tier comedy. What more could you ask for? This event is 18 and over, so make sure you bring your ID and your best sense of humor. Comedy at Cody's Sports Bar and Grill, May 10th, 7 p.m. in Jackson, Tennessee. Be there.
All right, we're back. And as we return from the break, we return to Reggie B. Fine, Sweet Georgia Brown, and Tony Adams. Now, I don't know how Tony Adams has suddenly become involved with Reggie B. We met Sweet George Brown last week, who was returning after a long absence. I guess since they're feuding with Miss Texas, I guess that's the tie-in here. But suddenly, Miss Tony Adams is suddenly included in the Reggie B. Sweet Georgia Brown package. But speaking of Miss Texas, we've had some fun with her promos throughout 1993. But holy shit, Sweet Georgia Brown makes Miss Texas seem like a promo master. Let's take a listen to this promo here. Does she call Miss Jackie a butt brain? What are we talking? Let's check this out.
Miss Tech Trap, you disgusting, incompetent little butt brain. You're a disgrace to the woman's race, the female race. And I can't believe these little incompetent people believe that you mean them any good. But when I do get my hands on you, Miss Tech Trap, I'm going to kick your butt so close to Texas, you can get up and walk the rest of the way.
Hey, Dave Brown, look at them. Look at them. Ain't them the two finest things you ever seen in your life? I tell you what, I got a real partner again today, so I ain't worried about a thing. Hey, hold on. Hey, Koko, come here for a minute, brother.
Well, as we told you, Reggie's partner in the ring today is indeed Koko B. Ware, but I don't see him out here. Maybe he changed his mind, Reggie, when he found out you were his partner. Reggie out here straying from the interview. Here comes Koko B. Ware. He's tough. There's no doubt about that.
Hey, Koko, take a look at my honey here, man. Ain't she fine? Look at these two pretty things. She like a daisy and she like a rose. Ain't them two fine things. How you like it to be with me with them, man?
Reggie, it's time.
Hey, hold up, man. I'm looking at him. Come here, baby. Come here.
It's time to go to the ring. We've got action scheduled here today.
How she look to you, man? How she look to you? You like that?
Well, Dave, they look all right, but Reggie, we got some business to take care of. Come on.
All right.
Well, you're exactly right about that, Koko Ware. Got some business to take care of.
Got some business to take care of, y'all. Shit.
So before The Godfather was a thing, we had Reggie B out here pimping out his valets to Koko B. Ware, who wasn't overly impressed, which seemed to not amuse Miss.
Hey,
Tony
Gene, I want to point out, if you close your eyes when she's doing that promo, it sounds just like Miss Texas. I just want you to know that.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's racist or something, but
might be. Apologize.
Miss Tex Tramp, is that the most forced nickname I've ever heard? Miss Tex Tramp. Like, you butt brain. I'm like, why are they letting her talk? Like, please, Reggie, take the microphone away from her as quickly as possible. Good grief.
That sounds like a whispered favor, doesn't it? Like, and I'll even let you do a promo too.
I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm tell everybody how good you look. I'm gonna let you do a promo, and then after it's over, okay, you know what's up.
I'm gonna cash you.
I understand that. I guess somebody in the WWF Creative Services Department drew up those god-awful outfits for Owen and Koko. Well, previously they had drew them up for Owen and Jim Neidhart, and then they added Koko to the mix, and they made them wear them terrible outfits as High Energy. But why the hell is he still wearing this shit in Memphis? That's the most god-awful gear I've ever seen in my life, with the checkerboards and the MC
Man,
Hammer
that never bothered me. I know you hate it. You've said something about it a couple of times. It never bothered me at all.
That fucking jacket's what really just makes
I like
it.
I'm gonna get me one of them jackets and wear it next time I'm on here.
Well, I mean, it's better than your Paul Neighbors impression with no shirt, but
Want me to try it again?
not by my. We're good. You can't sell T-shirts if you're not wearing one, so make sure.
That's right. That's right. What am I talking about?
All right, save the day, Josh. We crisis averted. So this next matchup, match number 3, Koko B. Ware and Reggie B. Fine, the Killer Bees, if you will, taking on the American Eagles. So I kind of labored over the thought of, do we want to watch this tag team match or do we want to watch Wolfie and Brian Christopher? I landed on Wolfie and Brian Christopher because we had recently watched an American Eagles match with, me, Josh, and Richard recently. So I did opt for that. But this, this is a spot show match all day long.
So, yeah.
And I really enjoyed it, except for the fact that we had Tony Adams on commentary. Bless her heart. She's better to be seen than heard.
Dude, I rewound that shit just to listen to some of the stuff she was saying to Dave Brown, because I felt like some of it was like she was shooting from the hip. And she asked Dave at one point, she said, "Have you ever donned the tights and got up in there and wrestled?" And he's like, "No, I didn't have to. I sat right here and watched." Well, then you don't know what you're talking about.
I love that.
I guess I had tuned her out by the time we got to that line, because I don't even remember hearing that line. But after a little while, I was like,
"Oh,
my
that's
God, I'm gonna turn the
typical
volume
guys
down."
in the business. You can't be a kayfabe sheet guy if you've never been in the business. So, never been. Don't know what the hell you're talking about."
It'd been funny if Dave's like, "Oh, I've donned tights, but not to get in the ring." But we don't talk about that here. But
I was actually in a mask a few weeks ago.
So we've dropped all semblance of the old fake English accent. We've abandoned that, thank God, because it is, very unnecessary. But again, this was a fun little tag match. And I wouldn't have minded us watching it, but eventually, I like so many matches here on TV. I enjoyed the match, hated the finish. Koko just pile drives one of them right in front of the referee, so we get the DQ after he gets caught. I did kind of like the way the One Eagle turned him around to see him do the pile driver just in time. He was going to do it behind the referee's back, but he spun him around and he saw the pile driver for the DQ. I'd be interested in seeing Koko and Reggie challenge Brian Christopher and Jeff Jarrett for the tag team titles far more than this apparent Moondogs match we're building towards. How do you guys feel about that? What do you think of the team of Koko and Reggie?
I like it, but I feel like they're setting something up with Koko's apprehension to the women thing. And then we got some business to handle and this. And Reggie immediately was like in disagreement, what?
They're okay. They're okay. And then you see Tony like
right.
Yeah.
So I like the idea, but I have zero faith that it sticks together. It's not gonna work, because Koko, he's already established himself as a ass kicking badass that will snap at the drop of a hat. It don't take much to punch you in the face for real. So I feel like Reggie's gonna get that punch here in a minute.
Yeah, that wasn't one of those random promos. Like that was definitely done to register the reactions of, for Koko to say what he said and for you to see Reggie and the girls' reaction to it. We're definitely laying the groundwork for something there. Do you agree, Brian?
Oh yeah, I just y'all love Reggie B fine, but I'm just not a fan. I don't know. I've liked him in an older review of him, but never was a fan of his during the. How's that podcast coming along there, Gene? With Reggie?
So once again, we established you're very racist. You think?
Oh, my bad.
You think all black women sound the same? You don't like Reggie B fine, and you think Koko should dress like a fucking clown. So yeah, we've outed you here. You're gonna get canceled now.
My bad.
Reggie is still trying to get on the podcast. He actually commented on a damn post the other day saying, "I want to get on that podcast." I was like,
"Hey, you need to tell the story now
again.
On the Patreon." Here, I'm gonna tease something on the Patreon. Gene will tell the story about his failed attempt to do a podcast with Reggie B. Fine.
Yes, that I was approached and asked to do.
Let's talk about Patreon.
Let's make sure, remind us to talk about that, because last week we teased something for the Patreon and didn't even talk about it. We talked about shit.
All right, I will. I'll write it down.
Unrelated. Match number 4, 6-man tag team match. Del Rios, Jeff Gaylord, and Mike Anthony. Now check out this tag team. JC Ice, Doomsday, and Rex Hargrove. This is our first look at him here on this show. I think that 6-man tag team, either on this show or on the Patreon, we teased it. This could be like Bert Prentice's dream team, the Fabulous Gaylords or something here. And here we keep willing things into happening, right? Like that Patreon episode that we're so proud of, spun this real life Jamie Dundee promo that's almost similar. And now that we've apparently talked this team into existence 30 years prior. Let's hear, again, this is our first look at well, no, I didn't get a clip. Damn it. I don't know why I didn't exactly. We got some still frames here. So here's Rex Hargrove. If you remember Lance Jade from Power Pro, Rex Hargrove looks like Lance Jade.
He's
got
a
into Scott
stud, man.
Steiner's stash.
Richard said something about this guy coming in just like he had a stink on him or something, but man, he's a stud, y'all.
He's out here challenging Jeff Gaylord's status as an All-American football athlete.
That's right.
And like he tells him right here, he's like, I don't know where he's talking about he played. I played for the University of Tennessee where real football is played. Like, do they play football at the University of Missouri? And then Gaylord's like, basically tells him that he was a bench warmer and he ain't shit. And they push each other.
Yeah, he referred to the Missouri school as a barber college. And then, Gaylord had that sick burn of saying, the only thing you were an All-American at was bench warming. And he looked so proud of himself after he delivered that line. It was like, oh, God.
I want y'all a little behind the curtain here. Just because of Jeff Gaylord, when I play NCAA football, I'm actually playing with the Missouri Tigers, and I have Gaylord on my team. I went in and edited and have a Gaylord.
Yeah,
so
that's
Jeff
why.
Gaylord.
That's why you have a Gaylord on your team. Anyway, so based on Gaylord being involved, my expectations for this match were super low. But actually, in all reality, this wasn't a bad match for TV at all, especially with such a mismatch of people in here. I mean, this felt like a 6-man lethal lottery match from the WCW days. Like we just drew these names out of a freaking hat. This is what we ended up with.
I got a flashback. You saying that's crazy. Like I thought, who was the 6-man tag team champions in 1990 WCW? It was like Michael Hayes, JYD, and then like some
Big Josh or something.
Yeah, some random ass shit.
Yeah, at one time it was Z-Man, Dustin Rhodes, and Big Josh, and then there was like you said, Michael Hayes, JYD, and somebody. They were drawing those 6-mans out of a freaking hat. It was
horrible.
There's 3 guys we don't have anything to do with. Let's put those 6-man belts on them because who gives a shit?
You know, we put over Dale about Spellbinder being so good. He had I don't know if y'all noticed that delayed bump he did. Like someone hit him and he took like 5 seconds and then he fell. I was like, okay, we're supposed to do a back bump 5 seconds ago, but yeah, I was totally wrong about Del Rios. I mean, when he first started out, you know, wasn't watching it here, but later on, I mean, he was a solid worker. I mean, just as good
brother,
as
Jeff they make you dress up like a gay Brony the paper towel man. You see how good you bump.
I swear to God, man. I guess because this
awesome.
Isn't in 4K, so I didn't notice that he was also tying the flannel shirt like in a knot.
Yeah,
at the bottom. I didn't notice that until this week. And man,
y'all don't do that to y'all shirts.
I've tried to like defend it a little bit in my house. Like I love Dale,
that
man.
tied shirt does it in, dude. Like you can't
There's
defend
no
it at
denying
that point. It's like, how are those 3 not coming out to "It's Raining Men" as their theme song? Like,
I just see Bert.
I don't know how anybody convinced him to do that. It's like, hey brother, you sure this don't look gay? No, man, you look tough as hell, dude.
No, Bert.
Oh no, dude, these shorts are a little short, aren't they?
No, you ever
honey,
seen
you look
ever
tough
seen
as hell.
Muay Thai people? They got those big splits up there so they can do the high kicks. I see Bert back there wiping the makeup off of his face and be like, I'm going to transform you, honey.
Oh, yeah. It's like that scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Dennis Reynolds has the shorts on so he can get low with those. He does the splits. He's like, I can get all the way down here. That's why you got to have the short shorts, because you get all the way down here. I just see Spellbinder doing that back behind the curtain. Look at this, brother. Look how deep I can get on these splits.
Oh my God. I actually saw that recently I was rewatching, I've never seen this shit before. It's something from 1983 in like East Tennessee. And it was the Boogie Woogie Boys. And one of these guys like came out there and for real did the Roy Munson strike splits like on the way to the ring, and he walked around the ring, right?
Like,
and he was
was
tagging
that
hands.
Gary is, man, if you've ever been around Gary Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Boy, he is a character, man. Total worker. He is so fun to be around. So.
Well, this was like a tag team. I don't think it was Gary Valiant. It was like just two random dudes, Jim something, and two guys I'd never heard before. But it was, we talked about Dale Mann recently on the show.
Yeah.
Well, he was like in the main event or whatever, and
wow.
super old shit. But either way, this guy, he's going around the ring. They're tagging hands, and he bam hit the splits and just right up, no hands, and then walk some more and bam hit him again.
Now I just picture your Uncle Danny in OVW whenever Eminem was there and they're making him an entrance. He tells Melina, "You need to do the Boogie Woogie Boy spot. You need to get up there on the apron."
So if anybody wants to go and look this shit up
I do.
Within the last week, that Brian Turner's VHS Rehab channel on YouTube, he just posted it. It's like
shout out to Brian Turner. He posts some fun stuff.
Super stuff like I'd never seen before.
And Brian Turner once, one week when you and Richard were not available, Brian Turner sat in with me and Jimmy Street on this very show.
Awesome!
Man. That's awesome.
So cool guy. He's got a shit pile of footage. A lot of great stuff.
He does. All in that Nashville area. He's got. I believe he's the one that put the Fabs against Lawler and Dundee from the Nashville sports arena there from the Garden. I see.
Yeah,
Garden.
that's a fun match.
Fairgrounds. That was, man. Go back. Watch that Psychology, boy. That's what that all was. And those guys are just at the best. They're the best at all that stuff.
And Dundee and Lawler managed to get heat as heels against the Fabs in Nashville, and they were full on heels there. Yeah, but I expected when I turned that match on, I was like, this is going to be half and half. This is going to be like, let's go Cena. Cena sucks here, but no, they were all in for the Fabs, and Lawler and Dundee were completely hated. You had Stacy out there. It's good. Yeah, check that match out for
sure. Good shit.
So Doomsday gets the pinfall on Mike Anthony when Boss Paul knocked his foot off the ropes during the pinfall there.
A couple
I didn't expect Mike Anthony to be the one to take the fall here, but good. Like
I was surprised we got a fall, y'all. We always get DQ. I was happy to see someone lose.
Yeah, and it shows they're pretty serious about Doomsday here, letting him get a pin against a guy that they've kind of been pushing because he did his best, Mr. Lee. Paul pushed my foot off. I expect him to come do a whiny promo. I did my best, Dave Brown, and Boss Paul pushed my foot off the ropes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gaylord.
Sorry, Jeff. It's okay. That cheating All-American over there should have been warming the bench.
He puts his arm around him. I got another way to make money. It's foolproof.
Hey, y'all, I just got a text from my mama, and I just want y'all to know I love my mama. I just had to say that.
Shout out to BT's mama.
That's right.
Making a run in here on the show via text. So we take a break, and when we return, we get a segment putting over the longtime floor director who's apparently leaving, who the on-screen graphic identified as the fabulous one, Bob Crone. Also referred to him as Coach Crones. Apparently he was a coach in a former life. But I assume they just needed to fill some time because this felt like the kind of thing they normally would definitely cut out of the non-Memphis show. And you can even tell, like, at one point they dumped the audio when he either said TV5 or Memphis. The audio drops out. But I mean, I'm happy the guy got his flowers, but it served no purpose on this show for my money. I don't know why we're seeing this, but there it was. And
I did the math though. That it seemed like this guy, he backed Jarrett since the big war. You know what I mean? Like he's the director from that moment on.
From 77 on, huh? Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's quite a long time. So we got to see him, and Jeff come out, and they made a few jokes and everything. So
gave him a gift basket that he did not open on air. I wanted to know what was in it.
He probably knows them guys well enough to know that he probably didn't want to open it on the air. That's what was in there. That brings us to our main event, match number 5, USWA Heavyweight Championship match right here on television. Jeff Jarrett taking on Doink the Clown. And it's ironic, or I don't know, perhaps not, but it wouldn't be long before Jeff Jarrett's going to be making his way to the full-time roster of the WWF, and he would be working with Doink the Clown quite a bit. I don't know if it would necessarily be this same Doink the Clown that we're seeing here. As you can see, there's a close-up shot of him. Allegedly, this is Steve Lombardi. He doesn't look or sound like Steve Lombardi, and a little bit of talking he did in some promos, but I guess, Then again, Meltzer also told us that the spellbinder was Dale Wilkes. So I don't know if we want to necessarily
just first. It was Dale
take,
Wilkes. And
take
he had
everything
that makeup on. And he
face value.
I swear though, man, in the way he works though, you can tell this is not Matt Bourne. He's not half as vicious. Like he's a little scientific like him. You could tell he's trying, but the way Matt would just like twist people up like a pretzel.
Matt Bourne,
and
hey, that was Uncle Danny, right?
Yes,
Eagles?
Red Boots.
Yeah. We didn't. I don't think we said that, but it was Uncle Danny.
No, the red boots label him now. If the red boots are on, it's Danny, and if it's white boots, it's Tony Williams. But
when he does this,
played legalistic.
When he does this with his hands, I know it's Danny. So, and then Ken goes to the back of his trunks every time before he does the first lockup. So,
yeah. Anyway. There's like 5 lines I thought of off of just that comment. No. I self-edited them all out.
Be nice.
But no, decent little match here. I did enjoy the finish. Let's take a look at the finish because it kind of exemplifies everything we talked about at the top of the show about what we're doing with Brian and Christopher right now.
Doink the Clown sends Jeff into the ropes. Jeff trying to roll him down in the sunset. He's got the shoulders down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the referee's out. It's Koko B. Ware with a chain wrapped around his fist. And Koko nails Jeff Jarrett. Now Doink the Clown's got to cover. Here comes Brian Christopher. Referee still doesn't see what's going on as he has been knocked down. Brian Christopher with a chain wrapped around his hand. He nails the Clown. And he reverses it. Now it's Jeff Jarrett with a cover. Referee Frank Morrell is looking around. He still doesn't see. There's 1, 2. Jeff Jarrett, still the champion. We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school, but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Chic, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all, and all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday at noon, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
All right, we're back from the commercial break, and before the break, we saw that finish to the Doink and Jeff Jarrett match. What did you guys think about that?
Man, that crowd pop. That was the best shot that they could have done for the finish, man. The crowd just bam jumped. They were so into it, man. And it was a good match for what it was. A little back and forth type thing, and like we said, cheating for the win, babyface cheating for the win, man. We
loved it.
Twisted the mindset.
Yeah, just like Josh said. Josh is like, both of you said he's still the same character. He's just a babyface now. And that's exactly what Brian Christopher would do if he was a heel. Jump in, use the chain. I wished we had somebody there when all this was going on that was paying attention and could explain what they were trying to do, or this was just Brian's, brainchild of being a babyface but being a heel kind of thing.
Yeah, it would be fun to know if it was like a calculated thing or it's just kind of the way Brian's choosing to play it. Because there's been a few different things with Brian Christopher in the last couple of months where we've kind of debated, like, okay, is this something where they're actually putting a lot more thought into just Brian's segment or Brian's story, or is it just that Brian's taking the initiative to implement all this himself? And
Randy was booking, damn it. Y'all know Randy was booking, right?
Well, yeah.
I want to say something about the commercials. Okay, so the commercials were not in all the show, but they were in some of the show. My favorite commercial of the whole time was something called a fur buster. A fur buster. Guys, you know I'm a fur buster. I can't even get it out. It was a hell of a joke. Jesus fucking Christ. Take 3. Fur buster, and you know I'm one of those on the weekend, if you know what I mean. So there you go. Fur buster. The worst name ever. Who came up with that?
I know somewhere you can be May 10th and showcase.
I was just about to say, you're going to have to get your comedic timing better if you're going to get booked at Cody's.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. I got some good stories, y'all. I have my own set that I always do in front of my wife, but I don't know if I got the balls to do it in front of a crowd.
Well, I knew she laughed at you a lot, but I didn't know if that was more of a statement of your comedic prowess or more of a statement about your sexual prowess. But
she laughs at me, if you know what I mean.
She too loves your midget D, but
yes, she does. Thank God.
One other thing I want to comment on that I noticed, these videos we've been seeing, especially it was prominent in this video. Brian Christopher is the only person I know who apparently hides his chain under his nutsack because he has to dig very deep to come up with these chains. He goes way down south to come up with those chains.
It's such a perfect visual, though. Did you notice who was it? Was it Jamie or Wolfie in the promo when he said he just goes down there and digs and gets him a chain out and it's fine? Like it was foreshadowing, and Brian like almost super enunciated it. It's a perfect visual.
I feel like maybe they've been making fun of Brian about it, and that was like his way of slipping it into a promo there.
Yeah.
But the great thing is, and again, this is something else he would have learned from his dad, where, okay, we're on TV here, it's not a big deal. But at the Mid-South Coliseum, if you were sitting up at the very tippy top, watching from the cheap seats, that Brian just went into his tights for a chain. There's no question about what just happened right there.
Right.
And, that's something I've always heard people talk about over the years about something that Lawler was the best at, because they were like, Lawler's, his movement, his facials, his just the way he did things. They said, you could be sitting at the top of the Coliseum and see the back of his head, but know what he was doing and really even what his facial expression was just off his movements, and that's an element a lot of people don't necessarily pay attention to or take into account, or that's, done these days. And I think a lot of people, you said that earlier about, telling young guys to study. People should study Brian. They should study Jerry Lawler and really pay attention to the little nuanced things that they do that they might not even think to tell you in a training school, that it's not going to be the curriculum, if you will. But it's very, very key. And it's something that makes them two of the best to ever do it, I think. But so it's time now, guys, to answer those all important questions that we ask every week. So let's see and this may be a harder question to answer than it has been in previous weeks. I'll be interested to hear what you guys say. What is your least favorite part of today's show?
So, I mean, it's very minute because I did overall enjoy this show. I mean, like you said, the matches, there was maybe 4 or 5, I can't remember, but each one of them were good. And just the flow of this show was really good. But man, I just didn't like it. If I'm living, I guess this was from where Evansville, the Evansville or
Probably.
Louisville feed somewhere like that.
Yeah, it is. Our show goes to all the other so it'll go to Louisville, Evansville, and Nashville, right? Am I right on that? I think I am.
Yeah, and then by this point, I think they had like some syndication that was going out. Like, I don't even think this was like maybe like just the Evansville. This is like what was going to like the syndication, because one of these, I don't remember which week it is, I noticed you see the little like not ABC, but some call letters for like some national thing that goes out on local stations. So
okay.
This probably played in like several of the towns, even outside. After a while, by the 90s, there was USWA shows running like up north and places like completely removed from the territory. So it could have been any of those places. That's why you didn't see any localized promos for like, hey, Saturday night and whatever.
Right.
So.
Well, if I'm that guy, just a random dude in like fucking Butte, Montana or wherever, like I'm very, very confused why Tony Adams is just showing up with Reggie and Koko B. Ware. I mean, like I feel like they could have led into it a little differently or created some little tiny situation to be like, oh, okay, she's with them now. But like, she just kind of wandered out there. And everybody was supposed to just go with it. I mean, I like her character and everything, and she's such just a smart ass. And the way she is with Dave, I loved her during the show, but it's just really confusing. Like they do little details and stuff for other stuff, but when it comes to something like this, they just walk out there with Reggie.
I think we've all heard us say, I know I've said it, I know Richard has, and I'm pretty sure I've heard both of you guys at different times say, I had to back up and go make sure I clicked on the right episode because you feel like at times you've missed something because of how they just roll right into something with no explanation. You're like, well, that had to have been explained. Then you go back and look at the date and you're like, no, this is the right episode. We're just falling into this and, just got to kind of catch up.
My least favorite had to be that fucking whistle and the Moondogs cowered and leaving. So that was like my least favorite of the show. I'm tired of the Moondogs now. And, ever who uses a stupid gimmick like that whistle, God.
Yeah, that hands down, my least favorite part was the Moondogs powdering out to anybody.
Does anyone get that joke but me, you, and Josh? Probably not. There's
no I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Well, I don't know. There's droves of Coach BT fans from back in the day.
There is.
Tune in just for your episode strictly.
I've heard people complain more about the clipboard than I have the whistle.
Especially that guy in Tennessee got his nose broke. So there you go.
Yeah. He won't shut up about it. What was you guys' most favorite part of this show?
Brian Christopher, the whole thing of him just being a shit heel, but like I said, he changed it just a little bit and complimentary towards the fans and Jeff and even Lawler in some cases. Like it's mesmerizing to see that he's changing the formula. He's making the people like him because, like I said, I was 11 years old just in awe at him, but I hated him whenever he would screw my favorite wrestler over. But man, he's so good. He's so good. And yeah, just the whole enunciation of the chain, like everything Brian does is good. And this is like, a sign of the times because before Memphis wrestling's over and done with, Brian is going to be in my opinion, the best homegrown star, other than like Lawler or Dundee.
I'll throw Jeff in there too, but yeah, and then PG-13 right below. But yeah, Brian was like I said last week when I was doing what was it called, Jerry Lawler's Memphis Wrestling or something. It was getting god awful ratings, but they were showing WWE matches with Brian, and when they would show that match, it would sometimes double or triple in the ratings when Brian was on there. And this was a WWE match. It wasn't anything new. Yeah. My favorite, I'm gonna go with Josh. My favorite part is this whole thing. The last 2 weeks have been, the last 2 weeks when it comes to stories and this thing with Brian Christopher and everything feels like someone else is booking it. It really does. It feels real different in the sense that the little details they're doing could be our old buddy Randy doing this because he was a huge fan of PG-13. But Brian was just, with Josh, he just goes in, gets the chain, still a heel, but he's a baby face. The fans absolutely loved it. My favorite part. And just a shout out to everybody that the wrestling on this show was a close second because it was fun to watch. I didn't fast forward through any of the wrestling or want to, so it was really good stuff. And Furbuster. Furbuster is my third favorite thing on the whole show.
When you can say it right.
I did say it right that time. Furbuster.
Yeah, add that extra R for Burster. That makes it.
Burster.
Yeah, I'll co-sign on what y'all put, but I'll be more specific. Brian Christopher versus Wolfie D specifically, just because this is the first match between the two, and they would be, prominent throughout the entire remainder of the USWA 397 through Power Pro. They were opponents and partners, and you always knew you were in for a good match, whether they were a tag team or whether they were against each other. You knew it was going to be a good when those guys got on there. So that's one reason I want to watch that match, because, man, this is the first time we're seeing something from two guys that are going to be prominent in Memphis for years and years to come from there. So, good match, good show. And there's no need for me to ask the third question, because at this moment, we don't even know what the hell the card was for Memphis. And like I said, some of the things that we missed on here had to have set some of these matches up that really aren't necessarily going to make sense to us. So November 1st, 1993, 1,300 fans are here to see what we're about to talk about. And again, I'm going to beat this drum each week. 850 people came to see Jerry Lawler versus Macho Man Randy Savage with Vince McMahon in his corner, but 1,300 people came to see this. So hold on to your hats. Let's see what we got here. In the opening match, Mike Anthony beats Tony Williams. Second match, Doomsday. Again, that's Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. Kane, a.k.a. Fake Diesel, a.k.a. Isaac Yankum DDS, a.k.a. All right, you get it. Doomsday defeated Tony Falk, the legend himself. Third match of the night saw Reggie B. Fine defeat Del Rios. Now, this match perplexes me. I mean, I knew this match was coming, but this is the first singles match between these two. Little Eagle beat Midget D in a mask versus hair match.
Wow.
Damn it.
First time these guys are fighting that we see, unless we just missed a hell of a lot from these Memphis shows, and we got mask versus hair, and Midget D gets his head shaved.
Use that Manscaped. Shave that Midget D, boy. Yeah. Woo! Makes it look bigger, y'all.
Him sucking on that pacifier is going to look even more like,
wow. More creepy.
That kind of turned me on.
So if you want Brian to get the credit when you get your Manscaped, put in the code word Furburster.
Furburster. Burster. It's Bert with an R, not Buster. Burster.
Fifth match of the night, the American Eagle number 2 defeated Wolfie D. In the sixth match of the night, JC Ice defeated American Eagle number 1. It doesn't distinguish here which American Eagle was which, so I don't know who went over and who went under.
We know.
Danny taking the fall.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. Over. Grandma knows. So
I was like, if only Meemaw was here to say, who the fuck took that. Match number 7, Rex Hargrove, the All-American, defeated Jeff Gaylord, the other All-American. So Tennessee wins over Missouri in this instance anyway. We'll see where it goes from here. Now, here's a match where we alluded to it in this promo, but we didn't actually set up a match by any stretch. We had a tag team match. Miss Texas and Vicious Vicky, who we haven't seen around the USWA in quite some time at this point, defeated Sweet Georgia Brown and Tony Adams. Don't you know that match was probably the second coming of the British Bulldogs versus the Hart Foundation, or the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express? It had to be, as Gorilla Monsoon would say, a classic.
Vicious Vicky is Ken Wayne's sister-in-law, right?
That's it.
I got it right.
Vicious Vicky Peel, yeah.
So the best, I think the commentator team for that match should have been Randy and Corey Macklin. Calling it. That would be the best scenario.
Yes, absolutely. I would pay money to hear that, actually. Okay, so here's where things go completely off the rails and doesn't match up with anything we saw on TV. The Moondogs, Spike and Cujo, defeated Leatherface and the Deadhead. Leatherface being Mike Samples and the Deadhead being Ken Raper. I don't know.
No
On TV,
idea.
we teased a match with Jarrett and Brian, but here we've got Mike Samples as Leatherface and the Deadhead Kid Raper. Now, for your main event, what apparently was advertised to be the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels and Koko B. Ware challenging Jeff Jarrett and Brian Christopher for the USWA Tag Team titles. Shawn Michaels was unable to appear, so your new Tag Team Champions are Koko B. Ware, and guess who his partner is?
Spoiler alert, Rex Hargrove.
Fucker. What a piece of shit. You were supposed to guess his tag team partner from TV, Reggie B. Fine.
Oh, my bad. Do it again.
I would like to see them challenge.
He said do it again.
Do it again. I'll do take two, and you can just edit out the first one. Go ahead.
No. I love keeping in when times you're a piece of shit so we can fucking bury you on the show. All right. So, yes, Rex Hargrove. To no suspense whatsoever. Rex Hargrove.
That's what I said. That's what I was doing, Josh. When
spoiler, don't you fucking know? Did you not look it up? Did you not get a goddamn report from your buddy Meltzer?
No, I did not. Remember, I wasn't. Well, I could have been subscribing during the time. I didn't look it up.
Well, I thought you could call him now and find out. If you're going to spoil the shit, you need to have some goddamn information.
He's so confused now. I don't know. He's probably watching AEW jerking off.
If it ain't the Young Bucks, he don't give a shit to talk about it, I'm sure, or any of that. Anyway, so yes, we have new tag team champions. It's Rex Hargrove and Koko B. Ware. Even though on TV, what we saw on our television, we teased Brian and Jeff against the Moondogs. We teased Koko, or not even teased. We showed Koko and Reggie B as a tag team. We teased a possible split with said tag team over Reggie trying to pimp out his valets. But what we end up with was Koko and Rex freaking Hargrove, Jeff Gaylord's opponent. So there you go. I don't know what next week's show will bring us because I think we may have Memphis next week, but I'm not positive of that. But just based on how long the episode is, it looks like we may be back to Memphis. So I don't know how you explain this, as far as if it's not the Memphis show, how do we explain to the audience how we got to Koko and Rex Hargrove as the tag team champions? But we didn't even mention that Shawn and Koko were going to challenge for them. And apparently I assume Shawn and Koko were going to win them and I don't like we took the belts off of Jeff and Brian after 1 week.
And Hargrove pinned Brian Christopher. Did you say that?
It doesn't specify. Oh yeah, it does. It does. It says
he did. He pinned Brian Christopher, which I thought was a shock.
Something had to have happened at the Mid-South.
Well, here you go. Here's your answer to that. Now, this is from the Observer. Mr. Spoiler over here, if he would have dug a little deeper.
Shit.
So on, I don't even know how we get here, but somehow Tony Adams had once again resolved things with Brian Christopher, and she was in the corner of Brian Christopher and Jeff Jarrett for this match as Brian Christopher's second, and she threw powder in Brian's eyes and caused Hargrove to get the win. Now, Josh, you may remember the only time we've laid eyes on Rex Hargrove this year, me, you, and Richard did a live stream for YouTube and Facebook, and one of the matches on that live stream was a Miss Texas versus Tony Adams chain match, and in Tony Adams' corner was Rex Hargrove because we didn't even know who he was. We're like, who the fuck's this guy? I was like, it looks like a jacked up Lance Jade, and somebody came in the comments and smartened us up that it was Rex Hargrove.
Yeah.
I didn't remember. So that's how we get here. For some reason,
I found, I don't know if I told you this, Gene, but I found the actual tape from, I think it's 10:16 and then 10:23. And then I think maybe, I don't know if this 10:30 skipped or not, but I'm definitely going to go and get the VCR out and look at this shit and see if my granny recorded all of it. And I'll report back to you.
Please do, because I'll be interested to see how all this ties together. Because from what we've got, it makes no sense whatsoever. So it says here, according to the Observer, Shawn had been injured in a match in Calgary. So them damn Canadians always stick it to poor Sean whenever he's up there, and they've done it once again.
I think he should break his fucking leg.
And so apparently Lawler was on that card and did a tour of Canada with WWF, and that's why he wasn't on television this week. So I figure that's interesting. It says that Leatherface, again, this is from the Observer, the tag team of Leatherface and Deadhead were managed by Downtown Bruno. That somehow they had him suddenly become it. And again, it makes the whole segment where they tease Brian and Jeff and the Moondogs feel so shoehorned in there, because at some point on this same episode on Memphis, Bruno and Richard Lee got sideways, which caused Bruno to bring in these masked guys to take on the Moondogs. So I don't know, man. It's very, very strange. It's a couple more notes from the Observer. It says Tony Adams is now managing Rex Hargrove, who is so green he makes you beg for tapes of The Equalizer, which is the guy from Portland who would eventually become Dave Evad Sullivan, Kevin's brother. So he wasn't looked upon fondly. It says Tony said he was the first real man she's been with, but I guess that's going to be leaking into next week. It says Midget D had his head shaved on the November 1st show when he lost a hair versus mask match to Little Eagle. And that's kind of all we've really got for this week's episode. So I'm interested to see now. I almost wish I had cheated and looked ahead to see what version of the show we got next week, but we shall see.
I
think
the
Easter
hour.
episode.
I think it's just an hour, even though we got 58 minutes, because I just scanned through it. Spoiler alert! I scanned through it, and it looks like we got commercials in it, so it looks like it's just the hour.
Okay, so it's going to be the non-Memphis version. All right, well, there we go. Brian Trammell coming through again with the spoiler. So it's kind of underwhelming after the first one, though. He just brought the whole goddamn show to a screeching halt with that one. But that's what he does. That's what we've come to know him for. So as we wrap up here, we want to mention once again our friend the Spellbinder Del Rios will be appearing April 25th and 26th, which is next weekend, or this coming weekend, I guess, as you listening to this on Wednesday. He will be at the Squared Circle Expo in Indianapolis, Indiana. You still can get tickets that are available at squaredcircleexpox.com. And speaking of things that are available, you can pre-order the book about Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. It is Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, the Uncrowned King of Pro Wrestling by
Got
Doug
mine
Gilbert
ordered,
and
Gene.
myself.
Got mine ordered.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. You can get yours at tinyurl.com/Eddie Gilbert book. So, we hope everybody checks that out. And also, speaking of checking things out, if you are anywhere near the Philadelphia area or you can get there, you need to check out this big event that Joel Goodhart's making a one-time comeback for Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, one and done. Also, he's going to have the WrestleCon. It's going to be Saturday, May the 3rd in Philadelphia at the 2300 Arena. And if you're asking yourself, what the hell is the 2300 Arena? Well, it's the ECW Arena. I will be there along with Dangerous Doug Gilbert and Tommy Wildfire Rich. They will be in action on the show that night. They are going to be tag teaming against Team Extreme, which will be the franchise Shane Douglas and a mystery partner. And me and Doug have been trying to talk Tommy into jumping out of the crow's nest. Doug already did it as the Dark Patriot. I told Tommy it's his turn. We never saw a flying Big Don in ECW. And I feel like the fans need it now.
What about Eugene? Man, come on.
Eugene's not booked on that, so I don't know all right. How he would do that. But all right, guys, tell us what's going on this week over at stspod.club, Brian.
We do Shiznit Minute every day on all our feeds. Go to stspod.club in the right-hand corner, as we say in the South. Link of all links, you'll be able to hit it. We do Memphis. We watch Memphis wrestling every week and do Rolling into Memphis. We just finished episode 216, featured Matt Hardy in the first ever tag team ladder match on Memphis wrestling. We also did the WTF News Desk this past week. It's one of those shows that if you start listening to it, you want to listen to it every month. That's what they tell me anyway. And we got upcoming, we don't have, but Memphis Wrestling show again on Saturday. It's a light week. And then the next week we do I couldn't see how many annual. It's the 7th or annual Mania show where we do 10 moments of Mania. So, and since Mania is going to be 24 hours, I think we should easily find 10 moments. So,
yeah, no kidding. Spoiler alert: when Brian gets to episode 316, Steve Austin's going to be a special guest for rolling in.
I'm way past. Oh yeah. That's what's going to happen on Memphis.
Ready for that? Dustin's going to be mad that I spoiled that Steve Austin's going to come to Memphis by then. But he don't watch this show. He's like Richard. All right. So also P3 Radio, Brian.
Oh, P3 Radio. I gave it a 3 out of 5 hoots again this week. Remember, it's a podcast that always talks about the videos, but never gives you the links or descriptions in the notes. Richard's been sick about 10 times during the whole year. And
it's alarming, isn't it?
It's alarming that a man his age. Yeah. Here's what's alarming. How the fuck does he put those episodes out? 401 is listed after 402, but I did listen to 401, but I didn't even know 402 was there until 7 days later, but they were both released on the same day.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he has a fucking time machine. I don't know how he's doing it.
You gotta tell Richard you can
him.
actually schedule that stuff. You can schedule it. You really can.
Yeah, and he calls himself scheduling it, but like I said, I think he's figured out this fucking time warping business.
It's
man.
crazy. It's crazy.
It's insane.
I looked at it to see because I was going to review that episode. I was like, it came out the same day. They talked about OB movies. I'm actually a fan of those. They said that on the OB movies that they used to watch, that there was a lot of honey, macaroni cheese, and pizzas and stuff like that that went on tits. I don't know.
Directly on them.
Directly. Richard bought a cabin in the mountains. He tells us about how to download apps and watch TV. Pluto and Tubi. Shout out to them. They have a really funny story about rag bologna, and I won't mess that one up, but it's real racist too because it's Mexican bologna. Richard buys, just so everyone knows, Richard buys super expensive ranch dressing while I get great value. We know how much how much money he is. He's rich. Richard also honks boobs. So that's just so weird to me. They made fun of a sexual harassment video. And in that video, they even said, "You know what I mean" in it, motherfuckers. And then they always make fun of people's gay voices. And then one of the last things that they talked about was that Richard got trapped one time underneath Dom DeLuise as they were filming the show Top Dom TV show. So there we go. That was this week.
Actually, that was a casting thing for Dom.
Oh, my bad. I thought he was taping it. Yeah.
Well, somebody taped it.
And Josh, you're always my favorite co-host of P3 Radio.
Well, thanks, man. I'm
just all three of the 5 stars, by the way.
They belong to me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is any of that true, Josh? Because I find everything he just describes very confusing.
Yeah, man. I can't find any lies detected.
Okay, well,
the only thing
I'm told I've got to listen to this now just to find out what in the fuck he's even talking. Like Dom DeLuise and Richard, like I didn't.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it led that way. It went that way.
It did.
And
it led that way.
Like I said, I'm only disappointed in you, BT, with your description because it was an actual Kmart sexual harassment video that they would have shown, like, say, to somebody working in a Kmart office.
I would have loved to seen that video if y'all would have put a fucking link in the description.
That's what's so fun about it, man. If you really love it, you got to search for it. You'll find it. I promise.
So you can find the results for Monday Night Wrestling from 30, 40 years ago, but you can't find the Kmart sexual harassment video.
I guess
I guarantee I can find it in 2 minutes right now.
Fucking easy if the link was just right there.
do the work, man. You got to.
And dude, we did some all right, who's the pervert in this one? We did the
that was fun stuff. Fun stuff.
I won on every prediction. Richard is not good at like labeling sexual harassers. Like I could tell by the look in the eyes, man. Each pervert, each one of them.
That guy across
on that same wavelength, like
you can't bullshit.
We know our own, don't we, brother? All right, but also
across the street, man. I thought that guy across the street when I was a kid was just a normal guy, but God,
always give me candy, let him go and play in his basement.
And he screwed you up for life. Look at what we got to deal with now. So P3 Radio's got t-shirts available, right? tinyurl.com/P3 Radio Tees. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct, man. We got a bushel basket worth of them some bitches. And please, like, if you feel inclined to buy anything, go over there, and I bet you can't buy every fucking shirt in that store. You low budgets, you can't buy them all. And if you could, you wouldn't. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Support me in my my deviant ways and Richard Lee's vacation fund. He needs to take more vacations.
Oh, Lord.
And you can help us. You can help us by going to that little website down there and just buying every one of them.
What you think about them t-shirts, Koko? Got some good looking t-shirts, ain't it, Koko? Them t-shirts, all right. We got business to take care of. We got to get out of here, guys. All right. So we got to quit. I don't know if I want you guys to sell t-shirts or not, because then Richard goes on more vacations and then we got more spoilers on the show. And I don't know how many more spoilers I can take. But anyway, that does it for episode number 48 of the Retro Wrestling Review. Join us next week for episode 50. And then the following week, we'll come back and we'll do episode 49 just as a tribute to Richard. I'm kidding. Next week will be episode 49. We're not going to infringe on P3 Radio's gimmick of putting shows in random order and then time traveling back to get them. So there you go, folks. Episode 48. Can you believe that if you have listened to this nonsense for 48 weeks, of 1993 wrestling in the USWA. If you've been here for all of them, we thank you. You're a warrior. If you haven't, they're all available. Go to WrestleCopia.com. Go through the backlog. Check them out. There's a lot of great stuff there, but there's also a lot of Moondogs and Harris Twin stuff. So sift through it. See what you think. It's we make it fun, or we try to anyway. Right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you next week.